Wait. Pause. No, pause.
Bro, just put the fries in the bag, bro.
Want a break from the ad?
All right, I got my intro. It's time for test room, guys. So, of course, usually whenever there is a test room, I tend to go over the patch notes, give you guys a little bit more in-depth, because I've already played some of this test room stuff, because at the time of recording this, it's been a couple hours after I've already streamed, and I basically went through everything on stream. Oh boy! But I usually like compiling these types of videos for you guys to see what's in test room and explain it a little bit more than what it just says on the patch notes or like the update notes or whatever. But if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. And let's just straight up get into the test room, right? And of course, I will make separate videos of like my first impressions of test room or like all that type of stuff. So be on the lookout for all the videos on the channel. And yeah. So the main thing I would consider that's coming out in this update is the new raid. Now, I have played the new raid, of course. It's pretty interesting. I will save that for another video, but it is an 8-player raid. You guys can read all this if you want to. It gives you like a brief description, but it's an 8-player raid based upon the heap, and there's a lot of cool mechanics in there. It's really interesting. I'm glad we have 8-player raids finally in Wizard101. Now, I know some people can ask, are they going to go back to the other raids and make them 8 players? No, I really don't think they're going to do anything like that. And if they do, they'll catch me off guard. But that doesn't seem like something that they'll do. But hopefully in the future, moving forward, we can start having 8-player raids instead of 12. I am enjoying this 8-player experience 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. There is new gear. There is a pretty sick looking set. Some people like it. I'm kind of like, I like the wand really, but at the moment the wand is like buggy where it just kind of white makes your screen white sometimes. Yeah, that happened a couple times on stream. So be careful using that new wand in test room. And of course, all these bugs will hopefully be fixed by the time it comes to live realm. That's what we can hope for, right? So new raid, be on the lookout for that. Now, beyond the new raid, we did get a new boss. Now, this isn't like a gold key boss, right? Because I think a lot of people are confused about this. I've been seeing stuff like this in my Discord, in my DMs, as well as other people stream, that they're like, hey, this is a new gold key boss. No, that is not the case. It's actually just a quest that you can do in Aquila, and his name is Sisyphus. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But basically, you can do this boss on standard mode and challenge mode, right? You don't need a gold key for it or anything like that. He does have a scaling down feature in the dungeon. I did realize that. So the reason being is you can farm this guy for spellments. You can farm him, or you can go farm obviously the challenge mode dungeons and stuff like that in Aquila. So speaking of challenge mode, all the dungeons in Aquila now have challenge mode. So that means Mount Olympus, that means Atlantia, and that means Hades, Underground World, Tartarus. All that stuff is now challenge mode. Now, have I tested it? Issue is currently in test room. The scaling and like the stats and some of the cards aren't working properly because they're not being banned properly. So there's a lot of issues when it comes to the challenge mode stuff. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second because there's other news regarding that. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on. So I wasn't able to test the full dungeon. I only got to be able to test out the first fight and the secret bosses. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a separate video with all the issues. So don't sweat it too much right now. I wouldn't worry about hopping on test room and just going in because you really can't get past the first dungeon or the first fight in the dungeon because it zone locks you for some reason. So hopefully that gets fixed. But alongside that, we got the new spells, like I was saying. The spells look pretty sick. I already have a video on the channel going over the animations. I will do a video just talking about in-depth review and going over like what the spells actually do versus just the animations. But we do have new animations for Poseidon, as well as Kronos, as well as the balance spell. Now they don't go based upon the wrath of whatever. So for example, it would be like Wrath of Zeus, Wrath of Kronos, Wrath of Hades, Wrath of Ares. They're like completely different spells now. They have a different name, so we can't really call them that, but I'm still going to be calling them by like Poseidon, Zeus, all that type of stuff, just because I've been tailored towards that. But yeah, they all have a top path, bottom path, everything like that. But like I said, just check out the previous video regarding the spells, and that will give you a better in-depth analysis. But yeah, here's the thing about the challenge mode stuff. Now, challenge mode, I believe it says right here, challenge mode health numbers have not been fully balanced yet. And then as well as some of the cheats need to be balanced as well. We're doing one of the fights of the secret bosses and he puts a 280% trap on you. Yeah, keep in mind you're gonna be level 30, so you can just get nuked round 1 and it's not that fun. So hopefully that gets fixed. There is a new challenge mode set which I did go over in I believe the previous video, or like the video before, saying like, hey, you can literally tell that there's a challenge mode set right here. So I'm looking forward to this. I think mainly what I've said on stream is, hey, the hat looks good, the boots look okay, and the wand looks pretty sick. I just don't like how your character smiles weirdly when you have something like holding like that. I don't know why, it looks very weird. So that's just my opinion on that. As well as there's kind of like a pity system now for the Aquila gear, which I've probably will explain in another video, but there's like a pity system in a sense. So I'm kind of looking forward to more things regarding that. And there's a new set of gear for like 170 that's on that vendor, which is interesting to see. So we'll have to see a little bit more about that in a separate video because I do want to do more of an in-depth review on that. But this is just basically all explaining regarding the challenge mode stuff for Aquila. Now, I believe this isn't going to be coming out right here. No, the Aquila Chronicle content, which is all this, meaning the spells, meaning the boss right here, as well as the challenge modes, they will not be available to, or content will be available to test on test round, but will not be released with this update immediately. So maybe they might need like another month or so, but honestly I think they should take that time based upon my experience, because yeah, they definitely need to readjust some of the cheats probably. Obviously I haven't tested every cheat, right? I haven't been able to test the full dungeon, but I just by judging by some of the secret bosses and you know, we were able to beat them, they do need to be tweaked still. So honestly they can take their time on this. I wouldn't rush this and I'm completely fine with it, right? So this will eventually come out. It's not going to be coming out right away once test room is over, so don't expect it. It'll probably be like a little bit after that, so be on the lookout for that. Now we can move on to the events. Now these events currently are active in test room at the time I'm recording this. They'll probably be out later this week or maybe next week, so I can't really give you guys my full-on opinion regarding this. But basically this is a new event similar to like how we have Beast Moon, Portal Peril, all that stuff, even though Portal Peril is bugged right now. But basically there's this new event. It's basically every day is a different world. You have to do some little things, so this is like a good way of showing it. Right here it says join a team and complete instances once per day and you get 10 points, and then team up in the featured world. So whatever the featured world is at the time. So right here it says Chrysalis, you gain some rewards on this meter, and pretty straightforward. And there's some exclusive rewards that you can get from here. Now there's like the hat, robe, and boots that they're showing off. I don't know why they're using the Shababa wand. I think they should have just not worn anything. There is this pet, which is the Pharaoh cat. Don't know if it's exclusive though. It doesn't say. And the vendor's not in test room when I was like looking around. So I don't know if this is an exclusive pet, meaning you can't hatch for it. I won't know until I see in game. As well as we get this mount, and there's a Crocotopia Power now. And then you can get all these by, you know, like I said, doing this event. And over time you can buy these rewards. So interesting to see. I guess they're adding these new events in the time being, or maybe this is already planned, but since Portal Peril is kind of gone at the moment, we're like missing that extra event slot. So more events, honestly, more scroll points, as well as you know, more rewards for players. So I am not complaining in any sort of way. And then we have this other one, a Lark in the Park. We will be testing this event on test round, but it may not appear on the live service immediately. So another thing, same thing. But yeah, check the events often, because a Lark in the Park lasts for 1 day and 1 day only, which is interesting to see. You don't want to miss it. Now, I don't know what these rewards are because they just have the pet icon. But it's funny to me because this is, so you obviously have 1 day to do this. And one of the things that you have to do is ride the carousel. It's funny because back in the day when, obviously, I don't think a lot of you guys would know me back then, when I was like streaming Wiz on Twitch with like, you know, 200-300 followers, 100 followers, there would be times where I'd just stream and sit on the carousel and just talk to my chat. It was a point that I would do on stream, and the fact that this is a thing where it says ride the carousel was funny to me. But But yeah, then there's like these other rewards that you have to do, or other missions, I guess you can call them, which is like find reagents, open chests, open silver chest, and yeah. So I don't know what the rewards are. It doesn't say it on here, so we'll have to see what that is, and just hoping that they're good, right? Hoping that they're good. I'm just really hoping that they fix Porto Pero eventually. I am missing that event because along with other stuff being changed, Poison got banned, at least top path. Frostbite top path got banned, and I believe there's one other spell. I mean, we'll see it later in here. We got Raid Island quest. I wasn't able to test this either. For some reason, my NPC Gwen was bugged because I've done the previous quests that have came out from her. But since I've done that, I can't interact with her on test realm to be able to test these, which I eventually will. It's, I guess it's like pre-quest for the raids right here, Void Raid, or the Void Raid quest. So we've had some time to create the introduction quest to the raid in Dragonspire. At Dindar, find Gwen, and she'll send you to investigate strange events in Dragonspire, leading to the Void Raid. So we got pre-quests for the raids to make them like feel more streamlined and make more sense and stuff, which is good, But I can't test it because she ain't there. Gwen isn't there, and I've done that quest on every character, so it kind of just sucks. Hopefully I can find a workaround, but yeah. And yeah, the spell changes that got changed. Here we go. Frostbite, Poison, and Judgment banned. Top path banned. Some players have their own takes about this. I know some people like the new Judgment on top path. Some people don't like the bottom path. Same thing, vice versa. Some people are saying the path B Poison is like really good because of the 50 blades I believe it gives you. And Frostbite I haven't heard much talk about other than it being banned. So there's that. And then right here it says you can acquire these from Beast Moon and Peace Moon seeds. If only Porto Apparel was fixed, then I can just be like, guys, just farm Porto Apparel. But at the time I'm recording this, and who knows if you're watching this in the future, I don't know, 6 months down the line, maybe a year down the line for some reason, and you're wondering, you know, if this is fixed. Yeah, Porto Apparel isn't fixed at the moment, so guys, get to it, farm your Beast Moon and stuff, and hopefully you can get your spells and grind them up. Another thing that they worked on is this, which I mean, I had my own take on this on stream, but right here, all spells that previously had a conditional that looked for damage over time effects on the opponent or heal over time effects on the caster now gambit those effects for greater value. So Sound of Life and Sound of Fire are good examples. Due to this change, overtime conditionals in some advanced combat modes have been adjusted to account for new values. Now let's go over this section first. Now certain spells, I want to use a good one, for example, Storm Owl. Storm Owl, what it would do is currently in game, not in test room, in game, is if you have hots on you and you cast Owl, it will give you pips based upon your hots. Same thing with Thundering Djinn. It will do double the damage if you have a certain amount of hots on you. Now, those no longer do that. Now they gambit those. So now you're taking away the hots. Now the reason why I liked it before is because those hots would stay on you, so you can owl spam. You can do owl into an owl into an owl, back to back to back. And this was so easy. Like so easy for challenge mode content, because you would just look for a person that could put hots on you and it would become so easy. Well, that's not the case anymore. So yeah, it's just a gambit mechanic now, and this affects all the spells, anything that affected those types of things. Now this is some sort of buff for certain spells, for like, for example, for Mount Olympus stuff, you can probably see people use Storm Shark now, because you can just gambit the hot to do more damage if you don't want to use other spells. But people are probably going to be using school pip spells anyways in those types of fights, so we'll have to see about that. But this also affects, another thing this also affects, like I was saying, is raids. Raids. Of course it's going to affect PvP, but this affects every single raid strat. Yep. So that'll be fun, recreating a lot of raid strats. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it right now. But they did affect or fix some of the changes in the raid. So for example, Crying Sky Raid, all the dual mobs have been readjusted to account for that, and as well as High Priest Yataxa. Now I'm glad, because Yatasha is like the annoying part of the raid. I think I've kind of voiced this to Cam that south side, east side, and west side, those bosses you don't really need to touch. And in the past I've said it's really, the kicker is really Yatasha because of how slow that fight is, and it's hot or dot. It's very annoying. So we'll have to see what this looks like. Obviously I'm not going to do a crying sky raid on test realm to check its health values and see what has changed, but I just would assume that they chose a good pathing. So, and then the Cabal's Revenge raid, they fixed the bat pots, which I haven't really talked about on video, but like how that raid works or anything like that. But if you know, you know. That's really it. Eventually I'll make a Cabal's Revenge guide. Good thing I waited on it, because now that the whole strat's going to be changed, it's super fun, super wow. And then Loon Knight was also changed. Gladly, Drake Lockley's punch has reduced its damage. The reason why we cheesed it, or the reason why I cheesed it, and like a lot of people did, was, yeah, the damage on that punch was absurd. So I'm glad this is actually getting a nerf, and it's been finally looked into. I don't see any patch notes regarding Grandfather Spider, so I don't even know if that will be fixed by the time test room's over, and I'm hoping it is. So then eventually I can make my Grandfather Spider guide. So there's that. And then here's an example of the new spells for Judgment specifically. Top path being banned. Path B, this is the new path B for Judgment. I did say in the Discord, like, rip your Judgments, because a lot of people are using Judgments for a lot of things. So it's kind of sad to see that it is banned. Time will tell. And then we did get new Beastman forms. From what I've been hearing in Kittens, and I could be wrong, hands up, I could be wrong, but what it seemed like was when I was in the call doing the raid, it seemed like everyone's saying, hey, we're just gonna these are like tier 5 forms that you want to go for. I'm not a Beastman expert when it comes to PvP stuff, but when it comes to PvE stuff, everyone just plays Storm forms anyways, majority of the time. So I see a Storm form, I upgrade it, but sometimes a Storm form can be doo-doo. It is very possible. So I'd be on the lookout for that. And then we of course have the schedule for Beastman. So there's that. Recycling bin. Now this is probably one of the best quality of life features in a while, if you are a new player, and sometimes you accidentally do this. And this probably saves support a lot of time, which is, have you ever trashed an item that you wish that you hadn't? The recycling bin now holds your trash items for a limited time, and then you can change your mind to reclaim them. So they stay. So if I were to trash, let's just say I trashed a gold key by accident or something like that, right? Now it goes in the trash bin, and then you can see that it's in the trash bin, and then it'll stay there up to 30 days. And you can take it out at any point up to that 30-day mark. So in case you accidentally did it. And of course it costs 1,000 gold to reclaim it, which really isn't that bad. Gold is not an issue in Wizard101, so don't worry too much about this. But this is a good quality of life feature for those new players and returning players or anything like that who accidentally delete stuff and have to contact support. This was probably going to save support a lot of time. So there's that. Player hosted tournaments. Now I'm not going to go too far in depth on this, because this was kind of already a thing in the previous test realm, but they were just kind of like testing it. It wasn't like a fully feature, but basically you can create tournaments now, like for friends, public, you can guild, and you can get rewards from there. That's just the TLDR. I don't want to go too far into that. Other content creators can go into that, but that's just the TLDR. I don't want to spend too much time on that. They did fix some optimizations for Unicorn Way, so they did some little things like, hey, now you get the fairy or pixie spell from the fairies themselves, and you also get a 1-day broom out a little bit earlier. And Rattlebones now has a proper boss notation on the map. So it's just like little optimizations for like the new user experience, which, hey, I'm not a new user, so hopefully this, for the new users that are coming in, they might like this feature, of course. And then bugs, enhancements, they updated some spell text of the early utility spells, and some early utility spells now correctly categorized as harmful charms or harmful wards. And that's basically it. Now, of course, I will make separate videos on everything, like, the raid, my first time experience, etc, etc. So a lot of videos to post on the channel. I'm just trying to post as much as I can before I get a little bit busy, because it is bound to happen. It is bound to happen. But if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Are you guys excited for test realm? Or is there any questions you guys have? Let me know in the Discord as well. Plenty of guides in the Discord, plenty of nice people in the Discord, and usually I'm always chilling in there time in voice chat. So go for it. Stop by whenever you guys want to. But that is it for me. Leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.